Guys, I've got a killer classic heavy metal riff for you to learn today. Actually, two of them. We're going to go over what you heard in the intro here. They're in two different keys, by the way, too, so that really makes it more interesting. We're going to dive right into this, but this is kind of like, again, that classic heavy metal style. I would kind of compare it maybe to some of Judas Priest's work, especially the Painkiller album, maybe some Maiden, maybe a little bit of Hammerfall. So there's a lot of different elements here that we're going to go over in this lesson. We're going to jump right in, but real quick, if you're a Patreon supporter, you have the backing tracks and tabs, so definitely grab those. If you'd like to join my Patreon, there is a link in the description of this video. This first riff is in the key of A minor, and before we get into the notes, I always like to simplify things in the beginning as much as possible because it just makes it a little bit easier to digest as we move forward. So the thing I want to share with you is, yes, key of A minor and only 3 chords. A minor, F, and G. Of course, again, we're going to move those fingers around a little bit within those parameters there, but hey, just 3 power chords, this right here. Pretty cool. Now we could come up with something really cool with just that simple progression. Well, we kind of already did that with this riff I'm about to show you. Let's break down the very first part of that riff first, which is going to hang on that A power chord there. That's all we're really going to be doing. We're just going to change that second note of that A power chord. So we've got the open A, and of course we're on the 2nd fret of the D string here. Now to break this down even further, make it even more simple, that second note of the power chord, the one that we're moving around, well, we're only in 4 positions there. So of course we're on the 2nd fret of the D string. The other notes that we're going to be playing on that string, all on the same string there, we're going to be playing it open, okay, just the D. We're also going to be playing the 3rd and the 5th frets. That's it. So when you break it down like that, you're like, okay, well that's pretty simple. So power chord can be playing the open, the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th fret. Now let's put all that together. I'll play it at normal speed, and then I'll kind of slow it down a bit for you so you can get the cadence of the picking pattern and all that good stuff. Now we move on to the other 2 power chords. We're almost done with this first riff, by the way. We move on to the F and the G. There's a little riff I play after that. We'll go over that, but again, I just played it all the way through real quick so you could hear it in context, right, with the whole thing. So we're on the F power chord. We are making a slight little change to that. We're going to be palm muting that, but there's one part in the middle there that I'm going to go from the F power chord. Instead of 1 and 3, at some point, I'm going to go 1 and 2. Okay, so the difference in sounds are like this. That's the F power chord. Then we move on to the G power chord. And we're really following the same concept here. We're playing the G power chord, but we're going to play a variation of that. So 3-5 for the frets, you know, E and A string, 3-5. We're going to go 3-3 at one point, okay? So let me start with the F and go to the G so you hear it in context. After that, I do this simple little riff. So let me play that in context so you can hear how that flows into that next part. Okay, real simple. I call these transition riffs, and this one's just a really simple little, 3-note riff there. Very simple. On the A string, we're going 2-3-2 on the A string, then back over to the E string on the 3rd fret, and then we go into whatever we're going to go into next. I call these transition riffs, though, and this is something I cover in my course, Metal Riff Master. A lot of you guys have that already. Thank you for the support on that. But I've actually got an entire module of 10 lessons on these types of riffs. Some of them get a little bit more complex than that, but they're called transition riffs, and they're a great way to tie pieces of music together, going from like a verse to a chorus, or if you're repeating the verse like we do in this case, I'm just calling it the verse, I don't know, I just wrote this today. When you're repeating a piece of music, maybe you want something in the middle to change things up a little bit, so I'll throw a little transition riff. And let me play that one more time for you guys. Again, really, really simple. So let me play the riff all the way through so you can hear that. I'm going to continue playing it the second time around because that transition riff actually changes the second time around before we go into the second riff, which we'll get to after this. That last piece right there, that's our next transition riff, and that's actually what we play before we launch into the second riff. We'll call that the chorus, which we're going to get to next, but let me share this little riff, little part of the riff right here. Okay, of course I'll go through this slowly, but we're on the A string, okay? We're going to start on the 7th fret, and then we're going to go all the way up to the 3rd fret, then to 5th fret, and then we're going to do a little hammer on pull off from 3 to 5 there, okay? And I'll also pull off to that open string, that open A as well. So these are the notes. So just practice that over and over if you get stuck on that part. Remember, you can always pause the video, go back to where I played it slow. Just practice that over and over until you nail it down. And also, feel free to make some changes to it. You don't have to always play the same thing I'm playing. You may come up with something, as you're learning this, you may come up with something really cool. Hey, throw that in, stick with that. That's what I want you guys to do. We'll talk more about that, of course, at the end during our guitar chat. So there are 3 elements I want to share with you in regards to this second riff here. Again, we're calling this the chorus. The other one you learned was the verse. I don't know. That just sounds cool. So we're only playing power chords, all right? That's one element. The second element is we're going to be playing some variations of those power chords, meaning we're going to change that second note of the power chord on a few of these, or actually I think all of these at some point, okay? The third thing is we're alternate picking, and I've got kind of like a light palm mute as I'm alternate picking these notes here, these chords. And I bring that up because now that we've simplified it, again, it just makes it a little easier to digest as we move along. Now, this may not be as complex. I know the alternate picking part, that can be difficult to get the timing down sometimes if you're new at this, but the riffs themselves, well, there aren't really actually any single note riffs in here, so sometimes that might make the riff not as complex. I bring that up because I just want to tell you that all your riffs don't have to be complex. This isn't a race to see who can play the fastest or come up with a riff that other guitar players have a hard time playing. I mean, hey, that's fine and all, but the goal really should be is just write a good riff. Write something that sounds cool, write something that you love to play, and I want you to take, of course, the riffs I'm showing you, and I want you to venture out, come up with something that's yours, come up with something better, right? As you practice these riffs, you're going to get these ideas, and you're going to run with it. That's what I want you to do. That's why I do these lessons here. Let's go over the power chords first. Yes, it was called for. Had to be a little bit dramatic with those power chords. Sometimes, talking about complexity, we're just chatting about, sometimes it's just cool to let those power chords ring out. Now, that's not what we're doing. We're about to add some hot sauce on the chicken wings here, but sometimes it's just cool to let that power chord just ring out and speak to you, all right? We're in the key of E minor now, by the way, but we're playing a B power chord, C, D, then we go to an A. Now the second time around we do the exact same thing, but instead of landing on that A, we land on the E. So now you got that part down. What I would encourage you to do next is let's add the alternate picking in. We're not going to do the variation of power chords quite yet. We're going to take this one step at a time, okay? Notice how I'm picking that, the cadence there. I'm alternate picking, but then I'll lay off and go back again and lay off. So listen to this closely. Kind of like a little chug pattern there. You know, we're alternate picking, and sorry guys, I don't know, I suck at counting these things out when I'm trying to count how many times I'm alternate picking. Just follow me the best you can on the video. That's really more important than looking at tabs. Again, my Patreon supporters, you guys have the tabs, but sometimes I almost want to just not even look at tabs. Learn to hear it, and then just mimic that, you know, allow your hands to follow that pattern, okay, just by hearing it. You can hear what I'm doing here, so just keep at it until you nail it down, okay? We'll go through this one more time, then we'll add the variation of the power chords next. Now let's add in, I'm going to play the riff, we're going to add in the variations, okay? And I'm just going to play the riff like I did. Hopefully I can remember what I wrote today, because again, I just wrote this like an hour ago. Alright, so what we're doing here is on the B power chord, that variation, and remember the variation I'm talking about is just changing the second note of the power chord. Just do something a little different with it. It just sounds cool. Power chord, B power chord, we're going to be playing 2 and 4, the frets 2 and 4, right? Now the variation is going to be 2 and 2, which means you've got that finger on the 4th fret of the D string. We'll just bar those 2 notes up here with the 1st finger, the 2nd fret. Then we move on to the C power chord, and the variation that we're going to play, remember the C power chord is 3 and 5 on A and D strings, all right, but the variation that we're going to play is going to be 3 and 4, and we're going to play it. Let me share how that sounds, and then I'll play it for you like I do in the riff. Pretty simple, and that sounds really cool. Now, next chord is going to be the D power chord, but we're not actually going to play 5 and 7 as we would play a normal power chord. We're going to play something different. We're going to do 2 variations here. So instead of 5, 7, we're going to be playing on frets 5 and 4 and 5 and 5. It's going to sound like this. Next, we're going to go to the A power chord, and our variation is going to be really 2 open strings on here. Remember your A power chords, your open A string, and then the 2nd fret of your D string. Well, we're going to have it open as well, the D string open as well. So that's going to be our variation. Now, we do the exact same thing, almost. There are a few little changes, and we're going to end on a different chord, but let me go through that first part. Okay, let's go through those 4 chords. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4 chords one more time, okay? Now, the second part of this second riff here, again, most of that, or say half of that, the first half of that is going to be exactly the same. The way we played the B, the way we played the C. Now, when we get to the D power chord, we didn't play the regular power chord, right? We didn't play the 5 and 7. We played 5 and 4 and 5 and 5. Well, this time we're actually going to play 5 and 7. And what we're going to do with the D power chord is really going to be similar to what we did with the B power chord. So you're going to play the power chord, but make sure that first finger is barring the 5th fret of that next string over so that you have this sound. One more chord, and again, just that pattern alone, you could just run with that, come up with so many other ideas with that. So the last chord, instead of going to the A power chord, we're going to go to an E power chord. Again, A and D strings, frets 7 and 9, and of course we're going to have a variation there, which is going to be 7 and 10. And actually, I don't think I alternate picked that part at all. So let's go through that second riff real quick again. Let's go through that together, okay? I'll play it once normal speed, and I'll slow it down after that. It is time for our guitar chat, guys, but a quick reminder to my Patreon supporters, you guys have the tabs and the backing tracks to this lesson here. Also, if you do not have my Metal Riff Master guitar course. You definitely want to jump in that. There's a link in the description of this video. A quick shout out and thank you to everyone who is in my course. Thank you so much for the support and all the kind words and comments, all the YouTube comments, the emails, letting me know how much this course has helped you. Again, there's a link in the description of this video for Metal Riff Master. The number one thing I want you to take away from this lesson, and this really goes for all of my lessons, guys, I want you to expand on this, okay? Yes, I do want you to learn the riff, try your best to play the notes and play the cadence and play everything I'm sharing with you. But once you get that down, or even once you get close to it, venture out. See what you can come up with based on what I'm sharing with you, because at the end of the day, it's really all about your own perspective and your creativity. I want to help just unlock and unleash that more because it's within you. I know some of you watching this right now, you already write music, but maybe if you don't, maybe if you're just learning other people's songs, I challenge you, venture out some. See what you can come up with. Don't be afraid to go into some different places on your guitar. Try another fret, try another string, play the riff in a different place on the fretboard. Doesn't have to be in A minor or E minor. Hey, play it in a different spot. Make it D minor, make it C sharp minor, F sharp minor. When it comes to playing guitar, especially in metal, let your own creativity and your own emotions and thoughts and feelings and everything, just pour it out on the fretboard. So I hope that encourages you. Guys, please give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I'm constantly putting out metal guitar content for you. And until the next video, you know what to do. Keep it metal.